Hi guys! For you, we just came back from Croatia, but for us that was like a month ago, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So Croatia is just a distant memory now.
It is so long ago.
Yeah. And in the meantime, it got much colder, of course, and we had a lot of work to do here at our country house because it's harvest time.
Yeah, autumn is here, so we have to prepare everything, harvest everything, and it's not an easy task because we have to go to work as well, mainly me. Tommy works from home, so a few times he was here alone and he was harvesting and I was working in the city.
And I was filming everything as instructed.
Yes, Tommy got really specific instructions and
We are really excited.
job well done, honey.
Yeah.
Good.
So we're gonna show you everything that we've been up to since we came back from Croatia.
Yeah, maybe this video is going to be quite inconsistent, I don't know, but that's what happened, so let's go take a look.
We finally found courage to dig out our potatoes. We could have done it already like 2 months ago maybe, but we've been delaying it until now. But I'm glad we finally did it, and we have a nice harvest. We could have had more if we took care of it properly, but we just planted it and then we didn't take care of it all year long. So considering we didn't do anything with it, I think it's pretty good.
Yeah.
And we still have more in the field. We might do that later today as well, we'll see. So yeah, we're gonna have potatoes that will last us for a few months at least, I think.
Yesterday Tommy had to mow this whole area because it was overgrown with weeds up to here. And the potatoes were invisible. And they were invisible even after it was mowed. So we were digging partly blind, but I think we found most of them. So from this area and from this area. And we have this amount.
Yeah. Not bad.
Not bad.
We are continuing to harvest potatoes here in our field. We have this furrow which we filled with hay, and we planted the potatoes in the hay. And now I mowed it because there was a very tall grass here, and it immediately uncovered some potatoes. So it's just lying there in the hay. Look, it just grew here.
And they are pretty.
Yeah. Okay, this was a fun experiment, but we could see that in the hay there were less potatoes than in the soil. So it wasn't as efficient. But we didn't have any other place where to put them. We would have to eat them otherwise, so...
If you have a lot of potatoes and a lot of space, you can do it this way, but
Yeah,
it's more efficient in the soil.
for sure.
There is also this second kind of potatoes. They were in the hay as well, and they are darker. It's not very visible, but they are actually violet. So that's quite interesting. We don't have a lot of them, but yeah.
So we just got a few of those potatoes from your mom, right? And we just filled in some holes, but we didn't expect any big harvest of those.
Yeah, but it's at least for one meal.
Yeah. And we're done. This is everything we've harvested.
Wow.
I didn't think we would manage to do it all in one day, so I'm very happy about that. We don't have to think about potatoes anymore.
Yeah.
Since we're on a roll, we decided to pick some apples as well, because they are ripe as well, so it's high time to start. A lot of the apples are with worms, so we were afraid we would have too many apples, but maybe that will not be the case.
So worms have a good life now.
Yeah.
because there are so many homes for them, houses.
Yeah, there's a big supply.
Yeah. We are in our sweaters because it's cold outside for days now, and we've been harvesting and dehydrating plums every evening. Every evening we do this small basket.
I think this is already our 7th batch or something like that.
So many batches, and we are nowhere near the end, right?
Yeah. We have these 2 huge jars full of plums already. Last year we had like 1.5 after the whole season, and we already started 3rd one. So we will have more plums than last year, which is great.
Yeah, it's amazing. This year really is a fruity one.
Yeah, exactly. Our trees are breaking under the heavy load of fruits.
Yeah.
There are a lot of pumpkins hiding here behind me, which is great. But the problem is that it might freeze in 2 nights. And if that happens, then the harvest will be destroyed, because the pumpkins would become a big pile of orange goo and we couldn't eat them. So I think I'll harvest most of them and then I'll see what to do with the rest. Hopefully we will have a nice harvest. I harvested 13 Hokkaido pumpkins and 1 zucchini, so that's great. They are ripe, but the stalks still need to dry off. So I'm keeping them here in the open, in the sun, to help the process, and hopefully that will help them to stay healthy. There are still some fruits which are not ripe, so I left them in the field and I covered them with an unwoven fabric, so they would survive the freeze. We'll see if that helps or not. We are really excited about harvesting pears this year, because we only have 1 productive pear tree on our property, which is behind me, and it's quite small. It only had like 5 pears last year, but this year it has way more, so we will finally be able to feast on pears. We also planted 2 new pear trees last year, but it will take time before they have any fruits, plus one of them died, so we will have to replace it. And it's time to harvest them now, so let's do it. I had to stop early yesterday because it was getting dark already. So today I finished picking the rest of the fruits. And it's way more than I thought. It was more than 2 full baskets. So it's slightly better than 5 pears last year. Now hopefully we'll be able to store them properly so they wouldn't go bad too soon. Because we don't have any experience with storing pears. So this will be our first. It's supposed to freeze at night again, so I harvested the rest of our pumpkins, including this big Halloween one. Or at least I hope we will use it for Halloween, because it'll be the first time that we would have our own pumpkin and we wouldn't have to buy one in store. So fingers crossed it lasts. We have these nasturtium plants, which we got from my mom. You might remember that when we visited her at her place, she had a lot of them in her garden, and they're pretty. and the flowers taste like radishes. You can eat them, which is pretty cool. So she gave us one pot, but as soon as we brought it here, they were completely decimated by these little black bugs. I don't know what they are called in English. So we thought the plants were done, but they survived and they grew up again. And now they are flowering in October. So they don't like freeze either, so I think I'm gonna put the pot indoors for the night, and then I'm gonna return it back tomorrow, and then we're gonna eat it.
Welcome to today's episode of Cooking with Peter. Guys, we haven't cooked together for a while, so it's time. We are going to cook.
We are?
Yes, we are going to cook a pumpkin risotto because we have a lot of these pumpkins. We call them Hokkaido pumpkins, but I was looking on the internet and in English, apparently, it's called a red curry squash or something like that. And on YouTube, it was under the category strange or unusual or, I don't know, weird foods. So it looks like it's not common in the US. I don't know.
Okay.
It's very common here and it's delicious. Look how many we have. Ta-da! Very many.
And we already ate a lot.
Yeah, we already ate a lot, so we have to do this. So we need this pumpkin, I don't know, 3 tomatoes or maybe even more if you like, and rice and other things, you'll see.
And more.
So first we need to wash the pumpkin or the red curry squash. This is the scariest part. So we need to get rid of the top. And the bottom part.
No tops or bottoms.
And now you need to cut it in half. You need a long knife. Don't hurt yourself. I'm always scared I'm going to cut myself and everyone around me.
Okay.
So, honey, be careful. And let's go. It's not easy.
Give it your all, guys.
It's really not easy.
You look dangerous.
Yeah, it is. But here we are. And we are going to use just 1/2 because that's enough for one meal.
For 2 people.
For 2 people. And our portions are enormous. So for normal people it would be maybe 4 portions.
Yeah, it's for 2 families basically.
Yeah. And now you need to get rid of the guts. This squash is quite easy to get rid of the inner part. If the pumpkin was perfect, we would be done. But there are these small imperfections because it's not a store-bought pumpkin, but a real pumpkin from the garden. So I usually remove them with my nails here under the water because they are not going deep. So just like this, you know. Because they are woody. I don't know, like
Hard to chew.
a bit harder, yes. So, but the biggest advantage of this pumpkin is that you don't have to peel it, and it's amazing. The peel is going to get soft, and you eat it just like that. So there is not much work to prepare it.
Yeah, that's cool.
I'm going to cut these tomatoes into smaller pieces. These are leftover tomatoes from our garden. Not very pretty because the season is at its end. And now I'm going to put the pieces here inside of the pumpkin, and we are going to bake. Oops.
That's never happened before.
This one is not cut into smaller pieces.
Oh my god, this is a disaster.
This cooking show, terrible. Okay, so we are going to bake everything together. That's amazing.
Wow. But that's a really smart way to...
Yeah, and this was my idea to do it this way.
Wow.
I'm also going to bake the second half of the pumpkin because I'm going to use it later for something else.
A surprise.
Yeah, so more flies in one hit, or
Two birds with one stone?
yeah, two birds.
Sure.
Okay, so now very careful so the tomatoes don't fall out.
Again, never happened before.
No, all this is new. And we are going to bake it with a fan. The air flows, or I don't know, 180 degrees Celsius for 40 minutes. I don't know the exact time. You need to watch it because every oven is different. And in the meantime, we are going to cook rice. So let me just add salt. This is 1 cup of rice and 3 cups of water and 1 teaspoon of salt. But you know how you should do your rice. This is parboiled rice. I don't know if it's common in other parts of the world, so I'm going to cook it for 20 minutes. 40 minutes went by.
Like
and
nothing.
Like nothing. It should be done.
Steamy.
Yeah. Yeah. It looks good. So.
A bit dark in some places.
Yeah, and that's the tastiest part. So I recommend.
And unhealthy as always, right?
And unhealthy.
If it's tasty, it has to be unhealthy.
I'm going to use a bit of butter. You don't have to. If you want it to be vegan, you can use walnuts. You can grind them and add them here because we need a bit of fat. And now, look, I do it like this. Ta-da.
And it's done? Voila! Serve it while it's hot.
No, now the magic is going to happen. I didn't need this. But I need this.
What is it, Peter?
Usually you use this for mashed potatoes, so it's a masher, of course.
Or potato destroyer?
Or destroyer, yes. So today it's going to be a pumpkin destroyer,
Okay.
and from this we are going to create something totally different, hopefully.
Something beautiful.
Yes, of course. Something beautiful is going to happen. Because the pumpkin is soft,
It's magic.
but we have a small pot, so
Be careful.
I can't go wild. I have to be very careful for it not to fly out of the pot. But this is boring. I imagine some other channels, everything would just be totally extreme, everything would fly everywhere. And dramatic music and everything, but yeah, sorry, it's boring. But look how it's changing. I'm going also to add salt again for the pumpkin. And onion powder
Because
because it's a good taste in this meal.
it's a verified combination.
Okay, but our powdered onion is
It's not powder anymore, it's
Yeah.
one piece.
God, what happened?
It's old.
This is not a fancy cooking show.
It's a real cooking show.
Yeah.
This is how it really goes.
Yeah, we are about real life. Not like everything else is so fake on YouTube.
No pretense here.
Yeah. And if it's too dry, you can add more water, guys. So it has a nice consistency. Okay. Few more stirs to finish the job. And voila.
We used to add cheese as well, right? But then we realized that it's not really needed.
Yeah, you can add cheese or these walnuts that I mentioned. And our dinner is ready.
Yay!
You can see we eat a lot. But maybe some of you eat more. I don't know.
Not Americans, they are not used to these portions.
Not at all. So good. Guys, try it at home, but this pumpkin is rare in some parts of the world, so you need to somehow find it and then try it.
We should start our own merch and sell these pumpkins.
We should. Yeah.
We want more flowers on our property. So I bought maybe 50 bulbs or so. And I want to plant them now because it's the time of the year. And the idea is that they would flower or blossom at the beginning of the season, so maybe from March to May. And it would be the first thing to look forward to when the new season is starting. It's mostly daffodils, because I read on the internet that voles don't like daffodils, so they shouldn't eat them. But we'll see next year if it works out or not. We want to plant them mostly around the fruit trees that we planted 1 or 2 years ago, because it could look nice. And I bought this thingy, this hole digger, to make the job easier, but the soil is quite hard, so it's still pretty challenging to dig holes that are deep enough. It's getting hot. And it's only 10 degrees, but it's sunny and not very windy.
It's so warm outside, and as good fathers to our pumpkins, we take amazing care of them. So we took them outside so they can sunbathe.
Yeah, and because we are so careful, even this big one seemed to survive, so we will be able to use it and carve it for Halloween.
Yeah, but this year we haven't filmed any Halloween video in advance. So if you haven't watched our last year's video about Halloween, go watch that one here somewhere and you'll see how we celebrate Halloween.
But that's it for this video, so see you guys next time.
Bye!
Bye!